Hey, what's going on, friends? It is market report time for November 2025. Since we're getting towards the end of the year, I'm going to look at kind of the past 12 months and start to talk about what does this year look like and what can we expect for next year. And so let's jump right into the data. We're going back to the old school way of doing this and actually looking at the MLS data. We went to some slides. I may go back to that. I'm not sure. I just felt like this was a better visual on what's going on when we're looking at all of the data across the last 12 months. So this is, we're going to start off, we're going to jump all over the place. Island of Maui first. So on the island of Maui, looking at the median sales price, as you can see this jumping up and down month over month, but we've pretty much been in between like $1 million and $1.3 million. So kind of that 1.15 has been the average if you flatten this line out across the entire year. And the last few months, it's been more than it has been the rest of the year. So we're just under $1 million. 999,500 is the median price for closed sales. Again, closed sales, very, very important. Doesn't really reflect what people list their property for. It reflects what it actually sells for. And that's really the most important marker when it comes to using that data point in a market analysis. What is things actually closing for? And part of the reason has been the rising inventory, right? So if we look over the last 12 months, we started last January in 2024, there was 628 listings. Then in January of 2025, there was 1,225 listings. So it doubled, right? And then this year, just over the course of the year, it's been pretty stable. So we saw increase earlier in the year up to about 1,350 for active listings. And it's kind of tapered off a little bit. We're at 1,283 active listings on Maui. So that real steep rise that we saw over 24 really slowed down. And we're actually seeing a decrease in overall listings on the island of Maui right now. So interesting. Inventory hasn't continued to rise now that we're coming towards the end of the year. And then looking at closed sales, been pretty steady. So if you look, 2025 starts right here. It's kind of between 100 and 140. So we have 110 some months, 137, 120. In the month of October, there was 125. So pretty average month, but that's what we're seeing. Month over month is about 120, 130 sales on average. So again, very, very flat, stable year. Nothing crazy going on, and for the foreseeable future, unless something crazy happens, that's what we can continue to expect. Definitely on the island of Maui. Let's jump over to the island of Oahu. So on Oahu, looking at the median price, again, same thing, and this is taking into account single family homes and condos. So it's a little bit, single family homes are higher, condos can be lower, but pretty steady month over month. It goes up and down, but this is only ranging between about 790,000 and 700,000. So median price being a 765 is pretty much average. Again, pretty stable if you look over the course of the last year. Nothing crazy going on. And interesting trend in terms of inventory, similar to what we're seeing on Maui, right? Is that we saw inventory rise dramatically in 24, 1,000 units, went up 1,000 units over the course of 24. But then once we got to 25, it continued to climb a little bit and peaked out at 3,800 active units for sale, but it has been declining since then. So we're down to 3,384 active listings on the island of Oahu right now. So like Maui, we're seeing that trend line go back down in terms of active listings. And then on the closed sales side, same thing. We saw a crazy spike. I don't know what happened here. This was PCS season, but this was a crazy spike. It could have been a bunch of new builds closed, but we saw 1,200 closings in September, up from 600 the month before. And now we're back down to 854 this past month. So weird little data spike right here in Oahu. But again, if you look at the last about 12 months prior to, having that 600 to 700 kind of 650 is where it's been month over month in terms of number of sales on Oahu. So again, a lot of stability there, other than this weird blip right here, which we'll figure out could be a data blip, but definitely an outlier month in the month of September. All right, let's jump up to the island of Kauai. So on Kauai, we'll start with a chart here and then we'll look at some numbers. So looking at number of sales month over month, Kauai also kind of ranges between 50 and 80 sales per month, and it goes up and down. It was actually a really strong month. So the month of October there was 2 months that hit 78 sales over the past 12 months, and that was one of them was October. So October and March, there were 78 sales. And so those are the 2 peak months for the entire year. So very, very strong in terms of number of sales. And then as we look at like year to date numbers, how are we doing this year? year versus last year. And I know there's a lot of numbers here, but just to kind of do a quick run through, single family home market, there was 36 more sales this year to date than last year, 14 fewer condo sales, and 21 fewer land sales. So if we add this up, right, 21 plus 14 is 35, and you minus that from here, there's really net one more sale this year than there was last year. So number of sales very, very flat on the island of Kauai, just like all the rest of the islands. So nothing really crazy going on there. And if you look at median price is up, or actually it's down in the single family home market 11%, it's up in the condo market 10%, and up in the land market 29%. So you average those out, median price is above last year's median price this year, even though number of sales are completely flat. And then now let's go look over at the Big Island. So on the Big Island, as the chart loads here, looking at number of sales, it was actually a very low number of sale month in October. So 338, which is lower than average. If you look across the board, there are many 370, 380. We had one 408 unit month earlier in the year in March. So somewhat slower, but kind of in that average ballpark between kind of 300 and 400 sales per month is what the Big Island has been experiencing month over month. And let's look at the year-to-date numbers, and hopefully they're as easy to do off the top of your head as Kauai's numbers were. But so from a unit change standpoint, there's been 20 more home sales, there's been 39 fewer condo sales, and there's been 134 fewer land sales. So the land sales are way down, right? And if you add this all together, that's 170. So really we're down like 150 sales this year from last year. So number of units selling this year is lower, but that is pretty much primarily driven by the land market, because 39 fewer condos and 20 more single family homes, it's almost a net zero, pretty close. When you look at overall, we're talking 2,000 total sales between condos and homes. And if it's like 20, we're talking 1% difference overall in the number of sales that are happening. And then looking at the median price, so the median price for single family homes is up a little bit under 2%. The median price for condos is down 4.5%, and the median price for land is up 4.1%. So median price is almost flat also across the board when you average that out for the island. So different little dynamics here and there on each island, nothing crazy going on. It's kind of been the theme for this entire year. It's looking like that's the way it's going to be going into next year. And all indications are showing that if anything is going to shift in the market, it will be post April of next year, when Fed chairman changes interest rates. Again, I've been going down a little bit, but that's not always reflected in the monthly mortgage rates. And so just a lot going on in the market right now. Stability is what you can kind of expect, in my opinion, over the next few months. Is you're going to get more of the same. So there's really no point in waiting to do anything, because there's no really big benefit or risk by waiting. If you are in a position where you need to buy a home and you can afford one right now, you should do it. And if you're in a position where you need to move, list your home on the market and move. All right, you're gonna edit that out. So with that, that is your monthly market report. As always, if you have any questions, you can always email me at dylan@buybigisland.com, or we guys have a link in the description below to my calendar, but we can go through specifically your market area, any specific needs that you have. But always appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next month. Aloha.